Listen up or run for cover. Dropping knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. The real Robin Bradley Bombs is dropping.
What it is, back again, Brad Lee with another episode of Dropping Bizzles. Today in the studio, folks, do I have a real treat for you? A real treat you probably have heard of already if you've never heard of Bobby Castro. Folks, strap in, get ready to frickin' rocket ship out of here with all kinds of new information, because this gentleman is not just rumor, he's not hearsay, he's not chatter or nonsense. It's straight up factual evidence. Came from nothing, built $1 billion organization, exited, owns hundreds of millions of dollars in property, and one of the freaking nicest, most down-to-earth people I personally know. Welcome, Bobby Castro. What's cracking?
Thank you, Brad, man. Nice comments. Always good to spend time with you, man. I enjoy the company for sure.
Dude, it's like I never did podcasts unless people came to my studio for some reason. And now that the COVID thing happened, I'm like, oh shit, dude, I can get Bobby on here. Let's go. And by the way, I mean, I'm gonna change my perspective. Because dude, like I'm getting some good information on this episode, and I never would have got it, or it would have been delayed for a long time because your schedule's busy. And you know, obviously to make you fly, or hopefully next time catch you in Vegas, was foolish on my part. So Bomb Squad, I apologize. Let me make it up to you with today's episode. Bobby Castro, again, built $1 billion company, dude. Is that that's my goal. And you know, I got up to 8 figures. I think my evaluation's probably 9 figures maybe, but dude, $1 billion is 10 figures.
Yeah, it's crazy, Brad, man. It just shows you that if you pay attention, regardless what your business line is, your industry, there is a multiple that the market pays for. And if most business owners, and I didn't know until later in life, and when I started realizing the math, I said, okay, let me just put some fuel and energy to this part of the business, because the market is paying for this business. They don't care about this other 90% of the business as I do. And when I started tuning in, things have changed drastically. Even today, how I look at everything is based on evaluation. So where do I put my efforts are that I'm going to get rewarded and increase value? So yeah, it's an amazing, and it would never be possible with about 600 incredible coworkers without their efforts, without their full-blown PMA energy, man. I wouldn't be sitting here today telling you that I have financial freedom, and it's just not about Bobby. It was about hundreds of other people that were involved, without a shot of a doubt. I was just a decimal.
Well, you originated it, you started it, right?
Yep. And then I surrounded myself with some people that were willing to say, hey, show me a little bit more, Bobby. And then I got people to make up my weaknesses. And for that, they made me stronger, made the organization stronger. And I completely surrendered to a lot of, not that I had a personality issue. And I always say, and you and I talk, ego's not your amigo. And when I let that ego go many years ago, I just got rewarded, and then I just kept feeding it.
The other day I made a post. A lot of people thought I was taking a shot at Grant, which I wasn't, but I made a post that basically said, you know, have some loyalty. Because, like, let's say, for example, you're working at a corporation that generally makes a couple $100 million a year, and a crisis like this happens. And if I don't let a bunch of people go, I'm only going to make about $80 million this year. I might lose $120 million. Now, again, pure profit, right to the bottom line profit I'm talking about. Are you the type of person that would make that call and save the 100 million so you could have it? Or would you, and that's a drastic number, 100 million. That's like, oh, but let's just be real. Let's say the numbers aren't so drastic. You're going to make 50 million net. Okay. If you let everybody go, if you literally say, screw the team that got me here, the opposite of what you just said, and I'm letting them go. I don't care. I know they're, $5-6 grand a month people, but I'm letting them go because I want to retain the 50 million. Or you'd basically are going to make 40 million if you keep them and just basically lose 10 million because of this. Which one would you pick?
Well, again, I'm all about valuation, Brad. And, you know, all the employees I have today and all my multifamily properties and other lines, they're still working for me today. And I learned a long time ago how to be steady as an entrepreneur and not fall victim to reacting too quick or too soon. And I know the power of scale. And I always talk about the power of scale. You need others. You need this culture. And what I did and what worked for me is I built this amazing army of incredible individuals that completely relied on me, what I said I was going to do. I did what I said. And this is just a moment in time. And as for me, as an entrepreneur, I've been through a few cycles. So this is my fourth cycle, a recession. And I understand there's a better end. There's light at the end of this tunnel for a moment of time. So me, man, it's so hard for me to retrain people in industries, and they've been with me for a number of years, and they shoulder to shoulder, they rolled up the sleeves, they sacrificed, they were in my office to midnight, they got divorced because of so much stress within the organization on the growth we were having. In 2005, we were the 5th fastest growing company in America. 2012, I was honored to be the Entrepreneur of the Year award in Ernst & Young. I wouldn't have never gotten to these places or destinations without these people. So I'm a very loyal cat. And if I'm making money, they're making money. And to answer your question, you know, when I exited, we were doing $150 million net income. That's no EBITDA. That's not add back depreciation. That's truly net income. And if I would have gotten, say, because of this, slashed by 150 million, still make 100 million, every one of them will be with me today. Every one of them, and I will be there shoulder to shoulder. I'm on the phone as much as I can with a lot of them, you know, just saying, hey, how you doing? And I'm thinking of you guys, fight, attack. So, you know, I like scale, man. Those people will still be with me today if that was the case.
Yeah. So again, without, you know, because again, I'm not intending to make people wrong, but at the end of the day, that's the type of dude I am. And all I said was on this post was, look, you guys, if you've got jets and you've got millions of dollars and lots of assets and you instantly blow out half your people so you can save profit, not your company. If you're going to save your company, dude, I'd do the same thing. The company has to survive, obviously. But when you're going from 150 million and a crisis hits and you're loyal to your team, guess what? I'm going to lose 50 million. So I can keep these people on here. I think that's worth it. That's the move I would have made. I wouldn't have launched people to save profits. And you just, and you just confirmed it.
Yeah, some entrepreneurs and some individuals, you know, we react a little differently in crisis and situations, and sometimes prematurely. And we, you know, we do things that we say, I learned from this one. And so, you know, there's a lot of entrepreneurs possibly fallen victim to that. But I personally think it's just maybe just reacting a little too soon. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, this is suffocation that's going on in the world. So, you know, at times I'm getting a little anxious, have some anxiety. I'm financially, you know, I'm so blessed to be in the spot I'm in, and I'm even feeling it. So I can see how people just pull the trigger a little too soon, or maybe say something a little differently than they should have said it this way or that way. And, you know, as far as me, man, I went through 08, 09, and my business took off in 08, 09. And the reason it took off, I was put in a position where I had to really pay attention to my business. I was getting a little distracted in real estate, overpaying, over leveraging. I was, you know, instead of paying attention to that same business I sold for $1 billion valuation. And as soon as I jumped back in there, because I had to jump back in there because of this crisis in 08, 09, I found new ways to make money. We became profitable that same year. I mean, new strategies. The business just took off drastically. And maybe back then, I was probably premature versus where I'm at today. I'm 53 years old, so I have a little more leather. And but in crisis, man, I think there's opportunities there. And unfortunately, if people are letting go of people and still saying, oh, you know, I'm not going to make 10 million. I'm not going to lose my 10 million. I'm not going to give up $2 million just to make 8 million. I'm making 10 million. Maybe they just reacted differently if that's the case. But to answer your question, not me, dude. I just stay steady because I know the drill. I know the crisis. I know the panic. I know how premature we react. That's why you gotta be patient. You gotta watch your words, because as a leader, man, a leader is this. They follow you, and you built this army, Bobby, of 600 people. If I freak out, they're gonna freak out. If I show our core value, all these years we've been marching down this field together, and all of a sudden we're on the front line with the enemy, and now it is shields off. We're going in. I got to be the first one to go in, and there's beside me, not in front of me, not behind me, but we go together. It's called we, W-E. And, but what's good, dude, is that every day, every minute, we can correct ourselves and be better because of maybe some things we did wrong. That's what's awesome about life. People just don't get it. That was yesterday. Now today is today, and boom, we rock.
Oh, dude, you're like the best dude I know. And what's crazy, dude, is because like a lot of times money will amplify people. And a lot of times people say, if you get rich, you're just an asshole. But dude, you're proof that, listen, dude, you don't have to be an asshole to make it in life.
That's
Here's
right,
my
man.
question. And I'm going to ask a few questions that are a little bit elementary and juvenile, only because I know people think this type of shit. Okay. So when you sell a company for $1 billion evaluation, and you end up stacking some money in the bank. Again, a lot of times people say he sold his company for $1 billion, so they think you got $1 billion. Well, you got taxes, you had shareholders, I'm sure. You had to get rid of some of it, but it boiled down to a nice little chunk of change. How much money in the bank, one bank account, is the most you should have before you start in other words, like you don't have, if you called the bank, it doesn't say, your balance is 395,607. Like how many accounts? How do you manage all that money? And is it in one account? What is the most you have in one account? And do you look at it? Do you call it up? Do you ever just listen to it? Like, holy shit, I can't believe I have that much dough.
You know what? And I'm all about full transparency. The stage I'm at now. Not one time, even when I first got the first 25 million some years back, because we sold a little slice of the company, it wasn't a wow moment. And just the other day, I was doing a review in my family office of our investments. Where do we sit? How we're maneuvering? What are we doing? What are we seeing? And we went over all the accounts. And I believe there's all in total about 9 accounts. And, I'm at a stage, Brad, where it's now legacy. I'm all about the 100-year plan, where I want to make the sacrifice today to do the right things for my grandkids, my 2 grandkids, their kids. Someone has to make the sacrifice in my family, because no one did it before. In both of my mom and my dad's family line, no one ever made the move. And I'm not about the flash. I'm in flip-flops. I'm here in the Florida Keys. I'm all about generational wealth. I'm about, building character within my grandkids, and, 9-figure ready to deploy for opportunities that I think will come in 2021. Not this year, because it's always a lag period out of real-time equities is today. Other distressed stuff, after all the relief and after all the lifesavers go away, that's when she'll surface. So, I did, my wow moment, I think you and I spoke about it, was when I was 14 years old and I got at the Squally's Italian restaurant. I was a takeout. Even today at 53 years old, that's been my wow moment. I never got on the phone to check the account. What's my balance? How much did I lose? No, man, you know what? I'm just in a good place in life. And that's what I call global success. And I know people don't buy into that, and that's cool, but that's what you want to shoot for, where, man, I have more than forget about the money that Sophie and I have built. She's been my wife for 30 years. Just every day improving as a person to make sure I check my ego. I'm kind to people. I respect people. I say good morning, goodbye. I just get off on that, man. And because I feel good about it. So I've never really checked the accounts. I do quarterly reviews. Now I'm doing it obviously more often, but it pretty much takes 30 minutes. And I treat my staff with awesome love, and they feed off of that energy, and they give it back to me. And we're just playing tennis, and they're looking after me. I'm looking after them, and we grow together, or we sink together.
But what does it feel like knowing you got a shit ton of money?
It feels good that my family is taken care of. My grandkids and my children. I last few weeks, I've been here in the Florida Keys for 6 weeks. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like, wow, you know, looking at how other people have it in life in a bad spot, I'm very grateful that my family is taken care of. If something should happen to me today, they're taken care of. I did all the right steps. I did the best I can to set them up. The trust here, do that. I did all the right steps, not to be selfish.
But you have far more than just taking care of your family. Like, dude, taking care of your taking care of your family is, hey, if I die, each kid and my wife and everybody are taken care of. Dude, you could do that with $50 million.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you're like, well, shit, I got like so much. You could literally, Bobby, hand me $10 million and not even blink about it.
You know, I do get nervous, you know, because there's a stat that scares me. Sophie and I make it. My kids, Brandon and Priscilla, when we're gone, they spend it all, and there's nothing left for my grandkids. That concerns me a lot. And I spend a lot of time with Priscilla and Brandon to let them know how important it is that, hey, we don't have this income and flow no more that dad and mom had. We just cashed out. These investments have to work for us. You just can't overspend to go back to the cookie jar, because sooner or later, years to come, you know, your lifestyle gets bigger, your appetite gets bigger. That's why I'm always telling them about the flash. You got to really be in check. It's not all about that. You go to the tables and buy $10,000 bottles. There's always times to celebrate, but you have to start thinking the way I'm thinking. So I spend a lot of time with them, but you're right. I mean, we're in that spot, you know, and how you put it, I'm very blessed and very grateful. And again, without those 600 employees, dude, yes, Bobby was a big part of it, but I only got on first base. I was good. I always can get on first base. I completely was horrible getting on second, third, and home run. It took me a long time. I used to get on first, could never get to second because I had that ego. And then when I started surrendering, got on second, and then start hitting homers. And just with, you know, so I don't know if that answered your question.
And folks, for listening, don't get me wrong. He's got the Wraith and he's got the fancy shit, but it's not over the top. It's almost like if I always think, man, if I were Bobby, dude, I would not be this, let's say, conservative. Only because, dude, it's so much. You're never going to spend it all. Your kids can't spend it all if they were freaking assholes.
You know, that shows you, Brad, you know, I was always about money because I came from a financial struggle like a lot of us, like you have. And it was always about the money. That's where the urgency came, you know, to get rich. And then when I got rich, I said, you know what? I just hit a ceiling. I got to get wealthy. And I can tell everyone, all your listeners right now, I don't care how old you are or what you do or how much you have, true success, man, is not financially. It's not about the financial status. It's not about the financial bank account. True success is how you feel, how you treat others, how you are as a character. I know that sounds corny, and to a lot of millennials that are rocking and rolling, they want to have the same success I have and you have, Brad. They'll find out later in life what I mean. I know they don't get it right now, but if you can buy into a little bit, like 2% of it, you'll be in a better spot.
Yeah. And I know you're telling the truth. I always tell people, because, you know, people think I'm at a level like you. In other words, like I always tell people, like, dude, I know you're impressed with Brad Lee, but trust me, there's nothing to be impressed with. There's people I know that literally, if they had my money, they'd be in big trouble. Like they'd be screwed. But at the end of the day, I say there is no key to success. It's a combination.
Yeah.
See, people are looking for this key. Dude, it's not a padlock. It's a combination. And everyone has their own. Bobby Castro has his own idea of what success is. Right. So does Brad Lee. So does anyone. And the problem with people is they try to build success based on other people's opinions. And then when they find it, that's why you said money doesn't make you happy when you get up there. And I always tell people money can buy happiness. People are like, money doesn't make you happy. I didn't say money makes you happy. I said money can buy happiness. I've bought happiness with money. Okay. If you had a child that had some sort of rare disease and $1 million bought the cure, and you paid for the cure and you had the money, that's buying happiness. I am happy I use money to buy this happiness that my child gets to live. That's buying happiness. Don't mistake it with money doesn't make you happy. You can have
You're
money
right.
and not be happy.
What I like to say, you're spot on. And I like to say money allows you resources, medical. You can get in front of the line, issues that are happening that takes currency to help it. So it provides you instant resources that it may not provide others. And that's what money is. It leverages you to resources. But I always like to say, don't try to be somebody you're not. Imagine if you can have financial freedom and be who you are. Each of us are so unique. There's not another Brad. It will never be another Brad. You are one of millions of those sperms that came out and just so happened to be, you caught onto the branch. I mean, you're just a miracle. So a lot of people try to mimic others and try to maybe go down the lane of others. And you're spending a lot of wasted non-refundable minutes, not giving yourself enough credit. And remember, money provides you instant resources. And that's what you want to thrive for. You want to have a bank account that gives you resources that it's there for your family. When we're in this crisis like we are today, look at how important sometimes money is critical. It's without it. Can you imagine a single mom in Nebraska, children, a deadbeat father, nothing, what's going on? Imagine that, no money. So it provides you resources.
Yeah, options and freedom, man. And I'm telling you guys that if you're looking to build, hundreds of millions of dollars just because you think that's going to all of a sudden make you happy, it's not necessarily going to make you happy. Although it does go a long way, doesn't it, Bobby?
Yeah, dude. And hanging out with you and your wife, when Sophie and I were hanging out with you and your wife in California, I'd seen how you guys were mixing, man. And a lot of people may even think, it's amazing when I see you on social media and then I'm able to hang out with you. You're the most humble dude. You're so vulnerable where you wouldn't even know if I met you at a truck stop, this was Brad Lee. So you got that magic too, dude. So you apparently got the sauce as well.
Well, I think it's because, I learned at a young age, authenticity is key. Like just because I have a little more resources and options than others, number one, I have nowhere close to a lot more. In other words, I'm broke compared to you. I'm broke compared to a lot of people. You're broke compared to some people. So at the end of the day, at what level do you get to all of a sudden it makes you different? Like to me, I'm never going to be different. You could give me right now $30 billion. I'm still going to be me. People can still ask me questions. I'll still answer my DMs. Now, again, if I get so famous and known that like I get 60,000 DMs a day, well, then obviously people, he changed. He can't, he doesn't answer like he used to. Guys, you can't answer 60,000. Right now, I'm not very known, so I can answer my DMs. You answer your DMs. Well, guess what? If I had 60,000, I couldn't answer them, but I'd want to still. I'd still want to at the end of the day. But dude, I think it's because I'm real and it ultimately boils down to, I don't think that money makes you better. That's the thing. Most people will try and think that money makes you better. Money doesn't make you better. I know someone with a lot more money than me and he's a piece of shit and I don't really care about, things he cares about. And I don't feel like that person's very nice at all. So again, I believe I'm a better human being, but he's got more money. So what's that tell you?
And that's why, a lot of people, these young entrepreneurs, Brad, as they start blossoming in life, and I'm hoping they just listen to those words you just said. It's so important because money can make you really a horrible person that you'll be so depressed and not really happy with yourself. So you got to make sure you don't get away from it and just, again, stay who you are. Just stay with your,
just be real.
You. Yeah. And that's all. And thank God, I had a great mom, hardworking mom, and she kept me in check. And I witnessed how loving she was to everyone. I was just part of that culture. And, I'm grateful for it. And more so, I talk about my mom more than ever, man, more than ever, because without her, who knows what I'll be today.
Not only that, like listen to people. I always say, well, what do you want? What do you want so much money for? And they'll say, so I don't have to worry about money. Well, dude, believe it or not, you get to a point where you have to worry about it even if you have a bunch of it. In fact, sometimes you have to worry more about it.
Yeah.
So it's just backwards, people. If you get millions and millions of dollars, you don't stop worrying about money. You stop worrying about bills.
Yeah.
And that's really
You're
kind of what,
spot on.
yeah, because dude, like you said, you're looking it over, and you're looking it over every quarter.
Yeah.
Like, you know, where's it going? Who's stealing? Is someone stealing? Where's it going? Did I make a good investment? You're gonna worry regardless. The question is are you worried about stupid things like bills? And I think, to me, a guy living in a 1-bedroom shack with his family, and he's happy, and he's growing tomatoes, and he's healthy, and there's love, and he's laughing, and every day he's laughing, but he doesn't have a Bentley, and he doesn't have a Rolls Royce, and he doesn't have mansions. Dude, I would rather be that broke person. Honestly,
Be happy.
I'd rather be that person happy, not knowing that this is possible, and live my whole entire life unaware that I was missing out. Because guess what? At the end of the day, I wasn't missing out. The person that thought I was missing out was the one missing out.
Yep. Yep. And
So,
that was my dad. My dad, you just described my father. My father had me when he was 50, Brad. Very, very passive. So passive that back in the day, you were able to retire at 62 years old, and we were broke. He retired, and he just got the Social Security check. I think it was like $600-700 a month. He didn't get a job, and he was 62 years old. I must have been 12. But you know what? He was happy. He was content. He hit the lotto ticket in life, and I think I get that kindness from him. And you're 100% right. It's just not, everyone has little different mojos of, and if you're able to understand that money gives you the resources, you want to have that reserve in the event that, hey, I got to get my child to a doctor, like right away, I got to get that plane off the island, then that's a great reason to have that. But it's not everything by no means. I'm finding out right now, being in quarantine, I'm saving so much money, including you, including everyone that's listening to this podcast, by not overspending. Think about all the things we were doing that we really didn't even need to do or buy pre-corona, that we took every freaking penny for granted, and look at how we're just going to the grocery stores, living by our means, being beautiful to one another. I mean, just everyone seems like they're all together. It's crazy how this whole crisis is making us all better and showing us that really, yes, money's important. There's no question about it. There's a crisis going on. But man, look at what it's doing, getting everyone together. And now you're accepting that. I just was on a podcast speaking to some awesome people, and man, I never met, that social media stuff. There's some mean people out there, and they're reactive again. But it seems like a lot of people are becoming more kinder, and they're just like falling, to who they are.
yeah, you've got let's say at least 3 to 5 billion people on the internet. There's no individual city in the world you can meet that many people. It's always a blessing when you just change your perspective. Have you ever heard when I tell people my $1 million morning? It's basically like, dude, if you walked up to somebody and you said, listen, I'm going to give you $1 million cash, dude, you would solve so many of their problems. They would be so unbelievable grateful and happy and excited, and the little things wouldn't bother them, and their little kids wouldn't get on their nerves, because they would just be fired up because Bobby Castro just gave me $1 million cash. But if you said, I'll give you $1 million, but you can't wake up tomorrow, nobody would take it. They'd be like, well, dude, that's absurd. Exactly. So what you're saying is waking up in the morning is worth more than $1 million. And if that's the case, and you acknowledge it, and everyone does, then why, when you open your eyes and you realize you just got something more valuable than $1 million, you're not waking up every morning with the same enthusiasm? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I've heard you say that many times. Yeah.
I've
seen some of your podcasts.
Yeah. So again, I mean, it's like literally if everyone just changes their perspective. And by the way, let me rewind a little bit, because I don't want people to think, oh, now listen, Brad's talking to Bobby and money's not important anymore, because I put a lot of importance on money. And the reason why is because of options and freedom and choices. Yep. And I know that with options and freedoms and choices, you do get happier. You do find more things. Like, for example, if I can afford to fly here and fly there and travel, I think traveling is important for culture. By the way, you just did a whole world tour for like 30, 40 days. How was that?
Yeah,
Talk
man.
about that.
That was 2 months. Sophie and I went, how many countries, and shows you how a quick funny story. One of the destinations were Africa. We spent some time in Africa, and I was popping around, and the resources, going back to money. Money allows you to go out and take a 2-month. And that when we sold the company, Sophie and I said, you know what, we're finally gonna do an epic trip. We went for 2 months, went to so many different countries, and I wanted to go to Africa in particular because we help out a school there. Sophie and I were very close to a school for the last 5-6 years. And we were traveling all over Africa doing some private chartering because the destinations we were going to, these areas, you can't take a commercial flight. You're actually landing in the jungle almost on a really, rough runway. I'm telling the pilot, Brad, man, how big is this country? And he's being so nice to me. After a few days, I'm telling him, how big is this? I mean, we're always checking in our bags. I mean, come on, we checked in already. Bobby, man, Africa has 54 countries. I think he said 54. I said, what? I thought it was one country. So I had to mention that to you. Everyone laughs at me. My wife was laughing at me because I thought, I never learned that in school. But it was an amazing trip. 75% of that trip, Brad, was in areas that had poverty. I wanted to experience that in my life. My son came with me with his girlfriend for the first month. I wanted my son to see when you don't have resources. Just living in the U.S., you have amazing resources. We were around a lot of stress, man, and I wanted to experience that because I wanted to stay true to that, because just because this influx of friggin' money came in my life, I wanted to make sure, like I told you, I don't get away from who I am and how I feel as a person. And I ran there, and I was in these villages, dude. I mean, 24/7. I was there. I came back a better person. And of course, I went to the beautiful places, Dubai and all those places in Europe. But 75% of the time, I was in probably areas you couldn't even believe I was in. I was in shacks that were maybe 20 square feet with the mother and kids. They all had HIV, everyone. I was hugging this lady. I spent so much time. I mean, no BS, guys. I came out incredible. If you're able to ever take a trip, make sure you check yourself up. Go to these places where it doesn't even take money, man. They only want a hug. So it was awesome. It was incredible. We went to, and then we did some sizzle dizzle. We went to the Maldives, did all that, Dubai. It was nice. We did that big airplane, where you have your own apartment. And I heard all about it. And would I do it again? No, it was not worth the money. And that just shows you, it's like you hear about this, like you hear a good movie. When you go to a movie, like, oh, I didn't like that movie because everyone's saying it's so good. But it was good, man. And me and Sophie came closer than ever. I work on her a lot. She works on me a lot to make sure we don't get our love away from each other, because when you're together for 30 years, that can easily happen. My dad had a few ladies with about 15 kids. It was awesome. Awesome. I can't wait to do it again.
So if like you could wake up tomorrow and just be anywhere you want to be, which I guess you could, but with no responsibilities, meaning like, where's the best place or spot you found?
Exumas in the Bahamas.
Really?
Daniel K. in the Exumas in the Bahamas. It's by far, to this day, the best place. I can go there with one pair of shorts, no shirt, no flip-flops, just me and my boat. As long as I have my family there, and I am golden there. As long as you have a barbecue, and it's the best spot on the planet for me. And space even showed it. They looked at it from space, and it's the most clearest water there is on the planet. Exumas.
Is that Bobby, just a beach and the barbecue and your family?
Yes, sir. All day, every day. That's what I'm doing here in the Florida Keys. And when I'm done with this awesome podcast with you, I'll be with my kids, my grandkids, my poor daughter, and my poor son-in-law. Man, I'm like taking over my grandchildren to become my kids. But yes,
dude. So unbelievable. Now, if I'm just a regular Joe, I'm out there working hard. I'm a little bit younger. I'm on the path. I want to be a Bobby. Give me some life principles and some daily habits that I should definitely observe with every fiber in my body to better the possibility that I do achieve a Bobby Castro exit.
Yeah.
Give me just daily habits. Just act like you're my dad and you're saying, Brad, I want you to do this every single day. Don't worry about, the hate. Don't worry about this, but do these things every day. What would those be?
Number one, you got to be really, really good having a lot of alone time. I don't hang out with a lot of people people that know me, I'm a big time loner. I may look like this personality that appears. I'm a big introvert. I do a lot of me time as to strategies on what I want. And it took me a long time to disconnect from family, friends. These are amazing people in my life. But if anybody wants any shot at success based on my experience, my recommendation is complete change. Just not disconnecting for a moment in time from a family member or friends. You got to disconnect from everybody in order to change everything about you, because if you don't change everything about you, you're never going to see massive change. Now, if you're looking for just to make $1 million a year or become a millionaire, yeah, you can wing it. But if you really want to become wealthy and leave something for these kids and your grandchildren, it takes some radical change, and you're going to have to be very good. I spend every morning, I wake up about 5 in the morning. I'm on my emails, very high level efforts for about an hour and a half. Then I do a workout, like right here in the Keys. I work out, I run. Today I ran 4 miles one way, 4 miles back, and in between push-ups, this and that. I come back, I work on the remaining second half of those emails, and I got something off of a beautiful gentleman, Ed Milet, and I picked it up from him sometime, and it helped me a lot. He gets literally 3 days out of one day. So his 6 a.m. to 12, he gets 24 hours of all his efforts are put into those 5 or 6 hours. The next half, he has some me time or family time. I picked up on some stuff where I'm maximizing more of my day by really separating my day with 3 categories. The first category, the first part is all business. I'm looking at my investments. I'm looking at the investments and post what I'm going to do now. I'm excited about post-corona that I'm going to be doing a lot of businesses and companies. I've already invested in a few, and I met actually a few on social media. You know, even though I don't do this for a living, I don't charge nothing for, just reminders I'm giving out. I'm meeting other Bobby Castros, and I recognize them. They don't even know the magic they have. And instantly, I'm building a relationship with them. So I'm getting value from that. Second half, since I've been in the Keys, spent a lot of time with my grandkids, because I'm saying, man, one day I'm not going to be here. Because when my kids, Priscilla and Brandon, were that age, I was there every bit of the way. Physically, mentally, I wasn't there because I was so busy grinding and trying to figure it out. Right now, I'm all there with my grandbabies.
Would you trade that, Bobby? Would you go back and change that if you could? In other words, you have a crystal ball that says, Bobby, you're not going to be as successful as you are, but you will have more time with your kids. Would you have changed it, or would you sacrifice?
Brad. The answer is yes.
Wow.
What I'm experiencing with my grandbabies, Ocean's 4 years old and Oakley is 2 years old. What I am, yes, without a shadow of a doubt, there's no friggin' dividend. There's no money that can, 1,000%, dude. I will be a truck driver, whatever it takes. And I see some of these awesome fathers out there, and I used to criticize these fathers. Remember, I used to have that ego. Man, what's this guy? He just always, what is it, coach of the year? And I used to show up, and I'm on my phone. My wife would say, Bobby, can you pay attention to the game? Well, just because that guy's like the coach of the year, you start getting sensitive, and we react only because we can't help ourselves. Yeah, I would change it. Yes, sir.
Good point. All right, didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to touch on that because a lot of people out there, they find themselves justifying being absent for future success, me included. I have 6 kids, 3 sets. And when my 2 boys were growing up, I always said, listen, I'm going to be a little bit more absent, but when they grow up, I'm going to have the ability to really help them when it matters. And, if I had a crystal ball, I would sacrifice. I would do it again. In other words, I'm happy I can provide for them now, because at 4 and 5 years old, I think we over dramatize how much kids need us. Yeah. But now on my 3rd set of kids, where I do have a little more time, now I'm starting to think like you are. Like this was just before. It's like, nah, I wouldn't change a thing, because right now I can help my kids, where if I were a truck driver and had no money, I can't help them, But yeah. So I wouldn't change a thing. And now that I'm hanging out with my 2 new ones, as you know, I got a 5-year-old. She just turned 5, and a 7-year-old. Dude, now I'm like you. It's like they're not grandkids, yeah. but it's awesome, man.
It's amazing. And if some young people can get some of this sauce that we're talking about and just mix it up a little bit. There's a nice gentleman I met on social media. I think you know him, Alex Vidal, and I see him on social media spending time with his children, and he's really into it. And he's also a great entrepreneur in real estate. And he seems like he has some of this sauce, at least visually looking at it. I wish I can go back and maybe play again, but it is what it is. You know, I did what I had to do. I thought that was the deal. All good, you know, all good.
So you'd wake up. So again, give me 3 daily habits. You wake up, you said.
I wake up at 5 a.m. I'm a big, if you're not able to pop out of bed, you're never going to get out of bed during your day. You have to actually pop out. You actually have to look forward to getting out of bed, because you have so many things to do that you didn't do the day before because your list was this big. And I'm obsessive getting everything done before the day's up. So I pop out of bed at 5 o'clock, make my own coffee. I drink a lot of coffee. It's not why I'm always hyper. I'm just hyper in life in general. I drink about maybe 3 cups of coffee when I'm going through all my emails. And again, when I go through emails, I'm only going through top high priority emails. I'm not getting consumed with the detail, the small stuff. The small stuff I found in my life, it used to stress me out, grind me out, bury me. And I was more focused on that back in the day. And that's why I was always making just a couple $300,000 a year, because I was playing with the small stuff. I focus on the large, high priority items that I need my energy, my efforts, my attention to these priorities. That takes about 2 hours. Then I hit workout. I'm mandatory workout. I try to eat as clean as possible. I probably come back and I'm probably working all the way nonstop till about maybe 12:30 in the afternoon. At 12:30 in the afternoon, I give my grandbabies, I give my family some attention. I give my wife some attention there. She's as busy as I am, so we try to commingle that. I spend about 3 hours on that. Then I take a bike ride. And again, this is post my transaction. You know, my life has changed a little bit, because I almost came very depressed. I think I told you, when I sold the company, you know, I found out from one day to the next, I had nothing to do. And I wasn't used to that. I mean, I was going 100 miles per hour and I'm very good at that. And now I'm going 20. This social media stuff literally helped me get by that so much. I was giving value like I did for my coworkers. That's what I would do in our culture. And then night, I'm back on again. So, you know, I do have some pressure now, a little different, Brad. Kind of weird pressure of not screwing it up. I have this generational wealth, they call it. And now decisions are a different level of a type of decisions. Now I'm like thinking 20 years ahead. Normally you're thinking like on the fly, and I'm not used to that. This is a whole different arena for me. And I'm trying to surrender to it. I'm having a hard time because I'm feeling a little pressure that every decision I make from this point forward, if I'm going to say true to the core value of a 100-year legacy, and I'm feeling kind of, you know, anxiety. I have some anxiety about that, to be honest with you, because I was always on the fly, always now it's a whole different type of economics involved, and I'm not used to it. I've hired a couple life coaches to get me through it as a person, to understand that, hey, Bobby, your days from there are no longer here, man. You have your way of thinking and the way of deciding things are going to be much slower, because I don't like to overthink. And you overthink when you have too much information coming at you, and then you can never make a decision. And I have a lot of information coming out to me, and for the first time ever, every one of them is very important. You got this trust going on, you got that trust going on, you have this legacy trust going on, you have this investments going on, and I have a family office to help me with it, and my whole team. But I like to make the decisions, because I'm ultimately saying yes or no along with Sophie, and it's a whole different world for me. And so that's keeping me busy at night, you know, where I'm taking a lot of alone time to really say, is this right? Because once you lock up X amount of millions of dollars, you don't get those millions of dollars back. You're saying this is here, 100-year hold period, 50-year hold period. You know, so I'm like, you know, and I like to play with money, meaning leveraging money. I like to buy properties. I like buying businesses and reselling them. So it's interesting. So I'm staying busy with that, you know, at night mainly.
When you say stack and rack, what's that? Is ultimately you're saying save your money so you can take advantage.
Yep, stack and rack. I trademarked it. because it means a lot to me, like PMA, positive mental attitude, all day, every day. Stack means save. Rack means invest in. And what worked for me during the time I was making X amount of millions of dollars a year in my business, that awesome business, I was never a spender. I was never the Ferrari guy. I was never the flash. I was more importantly like saying, I don't need it. Let me go ahead and stack it because I'd rather invest it. And slowly, Sophie and I built that $300 million portfolio. Right now, it's about $350 million portfolio throughout the years by stacking, saving our money and racking it into investments. And it just came upon this Hawaiian wave, showed up at the same time we sold our business. And if it wasn't for this method, stack and rack, and I see a lot of young people going out there buying cars that they should not buy, or do you really need that? You know, it's a nice car, but you know, why buy a $500,000 car when you can maybe buy a $50,000 car? And you know, I just believe that respecting every penny, stack and rack. If you can't stack, it takes money to make money. If you don't have cash today, I don't know, cash is very important. You know, for me, I believe in reserves for rainy days, reserves for a stack so I can invest, a reserve for my business. If I didn't have reserves for like my multifamily assets, I leveraged them correctly. And Sophie and I would get X amount of 6 figures every month distributions, but I would leave stuff in the bank because I know rainy days come. I just know the dark days always show up. And I learned my lesson, never again. When you show up, I'm going to show you my stack. I can get through it, because I used to just fail over and over with these damn crises. So stack and rack, man, it's the only way I think for me to get wealthy, because it takes money. You have to have money to leverage money to make money. And everyone's going out there trying to become wealthy with no money. And I tell them, I say, guys, there's no such thing. Work, get a second job, get a third job. Stop looking at a stage you're not at. It's great saying, hey, one day I would like to be there. That's it. Don't ever look at it. You have work to do. You're broke. You have 9 to 5. You're doing nothing at night. You're just on social media, or you're hanging out with your buddies. Get another job. How serious are you?
What about non-refundable minutes, though?
Another trademark, non-refundable minutes. Every time you invest your minute, you don't get it back. You and I right now exchanging. That's why I love giving value, because I'm never going to ever get this back. It's non-refundable. So I'm going to give value, because guess what? I want value back. Give me value, Brad. Give it, because I'm giving you. And now we play tennis. I walk away saying, you know what? Those 60 minutes, I got a return on my investment. But imagine just hanging out with times surfing the internet or watching CNN telling you the world's coming crashing down. There's no return. So your minutes are non-refundable. And my minute is worth a lot of money, and everyone treats their minute like it's free, man. Everyone expects to wake up tomorrow. They bet their life. Yeah, I'm waking up tomorrow. I guarantee you. Okay, if you say so.
Dude, that's a big one. And then PMA. You are always saying PMA every day, PMA. Why is positive mental attitude so important?
Look at the crisis we're in. My entire life has been crisis. When I used to go home, there was a lot of drama in my family, a lot of personalities, a lot of passion. My dad was Puerto Rican, my mother's Jewish and Irish, a lot of kids, a lot of struggling. Every time I went, unfortunately, when I left my house to go to work, it was really positive. But when I had to go back home, I kind of felt negative. So I had to find a way to be positive at home. That's where the PMA came in, positive mental attitude, PMA all day, every day. Right now with this crisis, man, I am very positive. Like, I can be broke right now and I will be positive, because I know that if you're not, you don't have a fighting chance to get through this. You are buying into what CNN's telling you that you already know, and it's just going to make you throw up and feel like crap. You're going to argue with your wife. You're going to be moody Rudy. You're going to be reactive, saying something you shouldn't say, do something you shouldn't do. And imagine if you were the opposite. Imagine that you just took a friggin' syringe, plugged it into your friggin' vein, and just kept plugging it with PMA. You'll be about PMA. That's all I am. And I choose to be that way. I want to feel good. Yeah, man. And you know, that company I sold, I mean, it was all PMA. That's what we'll do all day, every day, man. And It works, man, based on my personal experience. Now I can't, say that for anybody else other than me.
Did you develop any particular skill because dude, we get bombarded with negative information on even if we try to stay positive. Is there any technique that you could share that would allow people to stay positive no matter what?
Watch your non-refundable minutes. When you're getting negative, I can assure you, go back, do a look back, and you will track why you are negative, why you feel this way, because for the last 24 hours, tell me about the last 24 hours, and I shall show you why you're so freaking negative. Non-refundable minutes, man. Invest them in positive energy.
So if somebody walks up and says, Bobby, damn, dude, my wife, I was talking to her yesterday, man, that chick, man, I'm getting so tired of her. And like, oh, dude, the work, what are you supposed to do? Just say, later, beat it?
No. Brad, man, I clearly understand, man. I too been there. Let it go. Tomorrow's a better day, man. Be positive. High five, and I move on. Because if not, it's like a python that will freaking choke you and strangle you and suffocate you. I move on.
Yeah, I had a couple people lately. I won't necessarily put any shine on him, but I had someone kind of call me and try to give me some doom and gloom. I put up a post that said, basically, if you're my friend, dude, I don't need to be warned. I don't need to hear how many deaths there are and how contagious shit is and how the world's going down. I said, dude, I don't need to be warned. I like to say, if you live in the past, you're depressed. If you live in the future, you got anxiety. Why don't you live today, right now? Right now, I don't have coronavirus. Right now, I'm healthy. Right now, there's food. Right now, I get to stay home and play with my kids. I don't call it quarantine. I'm not quarantined. First of all, quarantine is when you restrict the movement of sick people. Right now, I'm sheltered in place. People say, well, tyranny is when you, I posted it the other day with the chain link fence. I don't know if you watch all my shit. I'm sure you don't.
Yes, I do.
But there was a chain link fence that said, quarantine is when you restrict the movement of sick people. Tyranny is when you restrict the movement of healthy people. We're not being restricted in movement. I got a bunch of hate on that. Like, you're trying to fear monger. Like, guys, you are allowed to leave your house right now. How'd you get to frickin' the Florida Keys if you're not allowed to leave? Okay. Yep. We can move around the country. What they're saying is, there's a contagious thing going on. So shelter in place. That's not quarantine. Quarantine is when you have something and we don't want anyone else getting it. So you're quarantined and then you're restricted. Right now, we can move, man. It's positive. See, again, it's just like, that's just a positive mental attitude. And that's why people say, how's it going, Brad? I say, dude, I'm the COVID kid. Like, dude, I'm thriving. I secretly like this. Like, dude,
you're being positive in a situation and you're actually excited about the situation. It appears that, but you're so positive because you're looking for the positives. Because if you don't, man, you're one of those individuals that told you, imagine being like, horrible.
Yeah, I'm realizing that I don't need my $100,000 a month office.
Yep.
We're all working from home. I don't even need that. The only thing I miss there is my studios. I realize that the school system, my kids never have to go back to school. If I wanted to travel, dude, obviously there's some value in having them, play with other kids in a live environment. But dude, they're on the little Zoom meeting every single day. They're doing their homework. Like, dude, I'm sitting here before, I can't go. My kids are in school. Dude, right now we're realizing, dude, this is more liberating than everything, if you think about it. But it is. It's positive mental attitude. So I would agree with 100%.
It's going to be new beginnings, man. New industries will turn into new industries, Brad. And I'm begging people, look at this as an exciting new start. You have a brand new start. When they open the gates, all of us are equal. Everything's going to change for all of us. There's going to be so much opportunities to do it differently, better, more efficient because of technology. I mean, I've been hearing a lot. I was on a Zoom call. A lot of real estate investors were the CEO, the chairman of Starwood. They manage $70 billion, and he's one of 100 CEOs that's helping the White House apparently with this rollout of how we're going to get started. He was on the phone with Jeff Bezos. I was just listening on with a bunch of other real estate investors. He was actually so positive, saying, yes, there's some, unfortunately, a lot of people are not going to make it out, but they're going to be able to start new. They're actually going to be able to have better opportunities more than ever, being more efficient. He was saying the office offices may take a little hit because you really need a big office. Maybe you need half the size of the office, but you can be more efficient. Look at that. I'm sure your team, my team they haven't missed a minute. They're on it. And we as entrepreneurs think that we got to babysit them. That's when you really hire the right team. When you're seeing them, they're like, wow, man, I never knew he or she shined so much before, because you never were paying attention to it. You were just busy being your old busy bee, being nothing, you know?
Dude, you're one of my favorite to follow, folks. If you guys are smart, you'll follow Bobby, because I'm telling you right now, man, it's almost like it's vital information if you really want to succeed, but it's wrapped up in this freaking humble goodness, I want to say. Like, dude, like I got this other buddy. Unfortunately, he's got this health problem that he thinks, according to his doctors, that he doesn't have long. But dude, this is the type of dude that like, he can date my daughter. He can do whatever he wants. Like, just the nicest guy you ever want to meet. You're the other one, dude. There's only two of them in the world that I've met: Bobby Castro and old Jay Bizzle. So folks, make sure you go follow Bobby. I hope I asked questions that brought people value, because I know your time's valuable and limited, and you want to go play with the kids on the beach in the Florida Keys. So I'm gonna honor that and let you go, because you gave me the hour and I appreciate it. But folks, trust me when I tell you, if you go to bobbycastro.com, you want to find him on Instagram, official Bobby Castro, and follow his ass. Give him a hashtag bomb squad, so he knows that he did give somebody listening to this a little bit of love, a little bit of PMA all day, every day. And man, watch your non-refundable minutes. Bobby, I appreciate you coming, brother.
Thank you, Brad, man. Much love, man. Much love.
Likewise. And folks, share this out, man. Someone that you know might need to hear it. Until next time,
That's
keep
right.
it real.